Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Emily Kern here with Deanna Rogers. We're coming at you from the State Home Bookkeeper Academy. How's everybody doing? Y'all pop a comment down below. We are so excited to kick off a brand new live series that we have going on here at the State Home Bookkeeper. It's called Behind the Business. So, in this series, we're going to be going live several times a week, and we're going to sit down with some very special guests to pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build a bookkeeping business, navigate that entrepreneurial journey, and really create a life you love on your own terms. So I'm really excited to have some fun people today. Like I said, we got Deanna Rogers, and we have the amazing, incomparable, the beautiful Sharon White with us. Hello, Sharon. How you doing?
There a different Sharon White here? That doesn't
The always humble and amazing Sharon. So, a little bit about Sharon before we get into some questions. Sharon is not only a coach and a mentor here at the State Home Bookkeeper, but not long ago, she was exactly where many of you are right now, starting from scratch, having no history in finance, wondering, I want something different in my life, but is it too late to transition careers? Is building a business possible for me? And she proved, as we'll discuss today, it is absolutely possible. And in fact, she built a thriving bookkeeping business, like I said, with zero prior experience and landed her first client faster than almost anyone in our program. That's one of my favorite things to brag about Sharon. She is our first client club winner. Um, so as we go today, we'll be talking about why it's never too late to make a change, how Sharon created a flexible career that she could end up helping care for her parents, and how she took back 34 hours in her week building a business that she could replace her income in 6 hours of work a week. And you just don't want to miss this. So let's get started. Welcome,
All
welcome,
right.
Sharon.
All right, Sharon, are you ready? We're going to put you in the hot seat. Are you ready?
Love it.
Yes. Well, it's 100 degrees here today. So
Well, then you truly are in the hot seat.
yeah.
All right. Well, Sharon, let's start at the beginning. What was going on in your life before you joined the academy, and what were you actually hoping would change?
Well, I've been working remotely for over 20 years. And so I knew the beauty of that. But I was working for somebody else doing something completely differently. And it took up a lot of time to kind of make my monthly nut. I was doing 40 hours a week, and it was sort of hard on my body, even though it was sitting in front of a computer. It was, just it was a lot. And it just kind of was soul sucking, to be honest. And so I didn't know what else I could do, but I sure wanted to do something else. And so I was looking, and I'm trolling the socials and whatever, and I saw an ad for something totally unrelated to bookkeeping, and thought, well, maybe I'll try to make this my thing. It was another sort of, educational uh, experience that I could buy into this coursework. And boy, I could not drag myself to those modules. I just kept putting it off and putting it off, and there was just something kind of nagging underneath that I thought, I suppose I could make this my thing, but I don't know if it's my thing. Kind of. And so then there was a day where I was like, okay, come on now, you're going to do it. And it was one of those like 2nd of January, right? Like, today is the day I'm going to start this thing, and I'm going to get into those modules. I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend this many hours a day doing it. And of course, I show up at my computer, and then I'm checking my email. I'm looking at the Facebook and the Instagram, and I'm like just procrastinating. And lo and behold, I see the ad for Tiffany Higgins, Stay at Home Bookkeeper Academy. And I thought, oh, bookkeeping, that's it. Because I just knew that was going to be a fit. Or I was pretty sure, and I hoped that it was going to be a fit. And turns out it was a fit.
Well, that's amazing. So I have to ask the question, did you have any bookkeeping or business experience before starting that, or just you saw that and you're like, Bookkeeping, here I go.
Well, not really. Something like 30 years earlier, I had worked in a little retail store, and the boss asked me to do the books. And this is, of course, before the internet. So we're talking big old book ledgers with the writing down. Frankly, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I sort of just followed the pattern of what I saw before, and she gave me some tips and whatever. And I found that I really like this, ooh, my numbers balanced or whatever. And that was it. I mean, just, at 20, early 20s, something kind of flying by the seat of her pants, digging into these books. But I've always really enjoyed balancing my checkbook. And, whenever you're sitting around with girlfriends and they're like, if you had it to do all over again, what would you pursue? Or would you pursue something different? And I always said, I think I might have liked to be something in the financial world in accounting and stuff. So, I mean, that's it for me. Just the sort of knowledge that I like those tasks and um, have an aptitude for it, and that sitting in the back room around all the clothing stock behind me, doing those paper ledger books for a couple of months, and not really knowing how to do that, but muddling my way through it. So I consider that to be in the column of no experience in
Oh, I
bookkeeping.
love that. So going through that, since you said you had no experience, were there any fears or doubts that about making that transition at that stage of your life, or were you like, no, I'm just ready to go? Like, was there anything in your head at that time that just really stood out now looking back at that?
Yes and no. I mean, when I saw the ad, and my reaction to it was like, so visceral. Oh my gosh, this is it. Um, and I was already looking to make a change at that late age. So I wasn't really afraid of the change and the time of life and, digging in and doing something. Then once I started to get into it, once I'm in the academy and I'm attending the calls, and I was just saying this today, I was hosting one of our calls for our students. And I was saying when I started, I, was attending every one of these calls that I could attend to absorb it and to just surround my world in the energy of a bookkeeping business, and I kind of was thinking, oh dear, what have I gotten myself into? I don't really know what they're talking about. But that constant attendance, I did know what they were talking about eventually, and progressively, and now I'm one of the bookkeeping mentors. So it's really surprising what you can learn. So I was excited. Had no compunction about starting something later in life. But then there was a little bit of, oh gosh, am I going to be able to get this? And the answer was yes, I was able to get it.